pity, isn't it, that at the beginning we only knew the most basic facts of life?
Which were?
You're a woman, you're born, and before dying you become a wife.
And one more thing before you become someone else's spouse.
The one thing you want is to get out of your parents' house.
And here comes Mr. Sweet Talk, ready to defend, to protect, to uplift, to kill.
And when he asks you to go with him,
you will. You will.
Most people go through that in their first marriages. I never did in mine. If I had some romance the first time around, everything might have been fine. But I was pregnant by the time I was 16. Can you imagine anything more stupid? And it wasn't love, it wasn't eternity or some arrow thrown by some cross-eyed Cupid.
What was it, dear?
Sex. Plain sex. Unimaginable kisses. So, this is what it feels like. And the worst part of all was once you tried it, you could never forget it. It's like riding a bike. I hated those years. And I married him. My parents forced me to save them from shame. I hated them so much for forcing me, I couldn't wait to change my name. To save their pride. That's what it was done for. And the misery that followed was what I had one night's fun for. But I tried to believe he loved me. That is, until my second baby was conceived. He flew into such a rage at that notice. I realized instantly, day after day, I had been deceived. He began hitting me, right here in my stomach, until I fell down in a haze. I was in such a trauma I couldn't speak for days. And it wasn't long before the evidence hit me like a hammer on the head. Early one afternoon, home, without warning, I spotted their stains on my bed. He had left minutes before with this woman I had called my friend. The blood left every vein in my body. I knew the marriage had come to an end. I was going to be this dreaded creature, a woman estranged. In that one dangerous moment, I grew up and my whole life changed. Perhaps it was the anger, the strain, his hitting me, I don't know, maybe. Whatever may have caused it, I bled and lost my baby. Unfortunately, my eldest boy is still with him now. I was too young back then. I couldn't have cared for him anyhow. Then came Ernie. And I was afraid everything would happen all over again. There was no trust at first, but in little ways he showed himself different from other men. He treated me well. He treated me kindly. And when I had my fits, he was wise enough not to mind me. He listened to everything I had to say. I had an opinion. I had a voice. With nearly everything we did together, I always felt I had a choice. By the time he and I met, my life was altogether quite whole, and if there was a need to be with anyone else, it wasn't a need I felt deep in my soul.
Yet, he made you feel like you needed him because of the way he needed you.
Yes.
I remember it was that way for me too. I could never forget the first time he looked at me in that certain way. We made up names for each other that we still use today.
Hun, darling, babes.
You know mine? Cutesy pie.
That is the corniest thing.
If I told you I hated it, that would be a lie.
Special names. And special gifts even after we were wed. Names for public ears. Names meant to be heard only in bed. Caressing in the open, sometimes getting out of hand. Secret gestures that only I could understand.
Everyone was against us seeing.
For one obvious reason or another.
Too much the same, too much the opposite, always something or other.
But he persevered.
Oh, how he persevered.